Oh, okay, that's a pretty cool looking little car with Sonic in it. You know, I think I'm gonna grab that. The picture looks really nice. Aw, sweet, here it is. Let's take a look. Ugh. Hey, what's poppin', players? I'm a Sega collector. I call myself that because I've been collecting Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog merchandise for almost my whole life. A lot of my hardware, software, and collectibles were passed down to me by family. And because of that, I have a lot of vintage and very rare Sega-related merchandise not many people know about. So it's my job to talk about it. Welcome to the Sega Collector. So, here's a random spur-of-the-moment video. I honestly had to make a video on this because nobody seems to talk about these things, and there's just so much to discuss. First things first, as a collector, I think we've all experienced this many times in our lives. You find a product that you really like, it looks really cool, the pictures online make it look awesome, you see the product in person, you hold it in your hands, it's completely different to what was advertised to you. It's something that's been happening with some of the oldest Sonic figures, and it still happens today. Just look at Jack's little metal Sonic figure. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I've been trying to grab some Sonic cars recently, and I know that sounds weird, but let me get into it. Let's get one thing out of the way. If I'm not playing Sonic games, I'm usually playing racing games. Genuinely, I love racing games. Sega is no stranger to this. Daytona USA is unironically still one of my favorite racing games to this day. With Sonic, you'd think making a racing game would absolutely come as second nature, but nope, not really. It's super bizarre. Sonic tried competing with Mario Kart in the mid-90s with some awful 8-bit trash games under the title Sonic Drift. These I seriously do not find enjoyable. Sorry. And then comes Sonic R on the Saturn, and while the idea of the characters racing on foot is quite novel and the look of the game has a charm to it, it isn't peak. I'd hardly even say it's good. Although, it is still one of my favorite games. It wasn't until Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing came out for the Xbox 360, PC, Wii, DS, and PS3 that Sonic finally had some legs to stand on competing with the greats like Mario Kart. This game is more than a decade old, but oh my god, it is still one of the most fun racing games I've ever played. Of course, I'm attached to it because of all of the forgotten Sega IPs getting an HD treatment as playable characters, but I find the challenge of skill in this game to be pretty comfortable and, at times, challenging, while not being luck-based like Mario Kart. All-Stars Racing Transformed came out in 2012, I believe, which I've yet to play, but has been dubbed by many as one of the greatest kart racers outside Nintendo hardware, which is actually an extremely high praise. 2019, Team Sonic Racing comes out and I guess didn't do anything new or interesting and it slowly fizzled out. I haven't played this one either, but it is on my to-do list. I'm purposely neglecting to mention Sonic Riders because that gives more of a racing game meets Tony Hawk kind of vibe that I don't think constitutes it being grouped in the same category as kart racers. Okay, anyways, with history out of the way there are bound to be collectibles of these characters in toy carts, just like Mario Kart, right? Well, yeah. Recently, we've been getting some very nice die-cast racers of Team Sonic Racing that I do believe are of good quality. They scale perfectly with Mario Kart die-cast toys and have good paint jobs and have some nice weight to them. But before this, we actually have mini race toys from Jazzwares who not only made Sonic and the gang, but made actual Sega characters such as Ai, Beat, and Amigo. Yes folks, Jazzwares technically made a Sega toy line. We got toys of Sega characters in 2010, that still blows my mind. In the time frame between then and now, we've gotten RC cars, pullback race toys, plastic and die-cast cars, and they all just kinda, I don't know, look like toys. When these racing games graphically look as well as they do, there is this inner modeler in me that's looking for something a little more substantial, I guess you could say. There's a large difference between a toy car and a model car. And as someone who's dabbled with modeling miniature sets with vehicles before, these things matter. As I do go down the rabbit hole, I've actually found the answers to my prayers. And nothing's ever easy, is it? Alright, first off, in terms of high-quality die-cast collectible cars, there exists this one Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed car that was actually modeled after an awesome NASCAR tie-in car that was used in real life. But then suddenly my heart stops, my eyes widen, whoa! There actually exists model slot cars of Sonic. For those of you who don't know much about this, slot cars are kind of like, I don't know, the Lionel trains? They've existed since before your dad's dad was born, and way back when they used to be these rinky-dink toys, but as the hobby has grown, the cars have gotten more detailed, more powerful, more lights added, and now they're seen as genuine race models. After doing some more research, company Carrera makes Mario Kart slot cars, and like most Mario stuff, they look basically flawless. Mario looks like Mario, on model, painted well, really no faults I can see. So upon looking into Sonic slot cars, I am greatly confused. Now, some of you may remember I did a little YouTube short showing some Sonic slot cars I had of Sonic and Shadow from Team Sonic Racing. These were by a company called how do you pronounce that? There is a general kind of plasticky feel to these things I don't like too much, but the car model itself is pretty nice. It's a good representation of Sonic's car. It's got rubber tires and operating headlights. That's a cool feature. The figure inside, though, yeah, they dropped the ball, big time. I think the problem here is Encock is not really a model company, they make toys. And they made these Sonic and Shadow pullback race car toys that happen to be the same scale as most slot car sets. So I think they simply just took those body shells, made a new motorized chassis, slapped it together, called it a day, and the result is just ugly. I have considered swapping out the figures in the slot cars with those of the die-cast cars, as they are the same size and all look much nicer, but upon doing some more digging, the rabbit hole goes deeper. Back in 2010, for the first Sonic and Sega All-Stars racing game, Encock made slot cars of Sonic and Knuckles, and despite being more than a decade old, they look much nicer. Kind of? The cars I am not a fan of. They look very disproportionate and lack certain details, but the figures of Sonic and Knuckles don't actually look too bad at all. Miles better than what they made like 14 years later. So naturally some might say, oh, take the figures from this set and place them in the updated cars with the headlights and you'll have the best of both worlds. And that's a good idea in concept, but like, these things cost money, you know? I'm not rich. And yeah, maybe this would be an easy solution, but remember that company I had mentioned before, Carrera? They are a company that specializes specifically in slot car racing. So the products they make aren't toys, and have a general quality feel to them. They make some fantastic cars with different paint jobs and the like, and also offer cute stuff like Mario Kart and even Disney's Cars characters. You know, get the kids into the hobby, that's cute. Shockingly, turns out even they made slot cars of Sonic and Shadow, and man, these are something. Let's talk about the finish of the paint job on the car. That shiny effect seriously looks like genuine automotive paint and makes Sonic's car, the Speedstar, look like a real racing machine. Rubber tires underneath, more weight to the item. Things seem really good. Perhaps this is the best Sonic model car. But sadly, let's talk about the figure. It's not as bad as Encock's, but it's not as great as the die-cast figure. It's kind of this strange middle ground, frankly. And let's also mention that this does not have headlights like the newer Encock slot car. Now, the craftier side of the Sonic collecting community who make their own figures may suggest to simply repaint the figure. But I'm gonna be honest here. Repainting can't save a bad mold. Every figure is molded from plastic, we know this. If the sculpt is flawed, painting it all pretty may make it cosmetically look nicer, but it's still polishing a bag of garbage at the end of the day. Now, this is kind of an odd video for me to make. For one thing, I haven't really done a lot of car stuff on this channel, but I genuinely love to. That's why I keep trying to get you all to watch that slot car video. But even beyond that, I think a lot of you know my rule. I don't like talking about merchandise that I don't own. I like to physically show you the items in my collection, and I take great pride in showcasing some items in the best quality and detail on the internet. But in this case, my hands are tied. The fact is, I'm going to make some Sonic and Mario Kart styled videos in the future, because this is my channel and I reserve the right to make what I want to make. But I genuinely do not know which products I'm going to use to make them. I've always been a little bitter of Mr. Mario. People compare Mario and Sonic left and right, and hey, you know, do what you want to do, you know? But the last like 20 years, it seems, whenever a Mario figure or plush releases, it's usually made to a high standard. And then Sonic comes around and makes stuff like this. And it kind of sucks that even in the model racing world, Sonic is still second fiddle to Mario. It's funny, I'm not actually upset, but it makes collecting difficult. Either way, I'm happy to have made this video because I am sure I enlightened some of you to products you never knew existed. And even if you did, I doubt you gave them much thought or attention. That's what it's all about here at the Sega Collector, shedding light on items you may have never noticed. I'll be back with another in-depth review or showcase soon, but until then, let me hear from you. I'm all ears. What is the best Sonic race car on the market? This has been the Sega Collector, and I'll see you on the flip. Oh wait, no I won't. Ha, got you, did a little bit of a fake out there. I told my audience to hang tight and watch this video and watch until the very end because I had an exciting announcement. My exciting announcement? My collection is expanding! But in order to expand, I actually have to kind of pull back a little bit, if you know what I mean. I've got a lot of Sonic stuff, and quite frankly, I don't need all of it. I'm not trying to be the one with the world's biggest Sonic collection. I don't care to do that. I just like collecting the items I personally like to get. And I kind of have this tendency as a collector to buy Sonic products just willy-nilly and not really think about if I need it or not. The fact is, I have a lot of great products that maybe haven't even had the chance to be shown off on this channel yet that I don't actually need. I really like collecting the late 90s and the early adventure, 2000s era Sonic stuff, and that's about it. So I have a lot of Jakks-Pacific Sonic stuff and a lot of modern Sonic stuff that I don't need, and it's just kind of sitting in boxes. Consider this an early spring cleaning announcement. In the description of this video is a link to my eBay page. You, my fans, my friends, my loyal collectors, you are going to have the chance to follow that link, and if you are interested in any of the products you've seen on this channel, odds are it's going to be up for grabs on eBay. These items are only going to be listed for 1 week, though. So, time is of the essence, friends. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll catch you again soon.